What is up, everybody? Welcome into Tide Talk Live. Stacey Blackwood, joined as always by my good buddy Jake Thomas on this Tuesday evening here in North Alabama. Jake, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
Doing great, man. Seems to me like there's a big ball game this weekend. I can't really pinpoint what it is. Oh wait, third Saturday in October. That's exactly what it is. That's what we're going to talk about tonight. So I'm excited, man. Good to be here.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Big game, Jake. Revenge seeking in the
Yeah,
minds of the fans. I'm not sure how much the players play into that, but yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun diving into this matchup. It's a really interesting matchup if you look at these two teams, and of course we'll talk all about that here in just a second. But thank you for tuning in tonight on the live show, Skip. Ricky, Bonnie, good to have you guys as well. So yeah, if you're watching right now, jump in the chat and let us know your thoughts. Give us a roll tide. We'll love to interact with you there in the live chat. And if you're watching the post recording of this, make sure you do jump to the comment section as well and give us your thoughts on the matchup this weekend. But if you're not already, please do like, share, and subscribe today. We are presented by BetUS and Latour Watches. We'll talk about those guys here in a little bit. But excited, Jake, for this matchup. This is one of the best rivalry games in the SEC. And it's always fun when these two get together, and especially after what happened last year in Knoxville.
right.
This one seems to have a little bit more anticipation building up to the matchup on Saturday.
Yeah, man. And we're the uncertainty of how the schedule is going to lay out next year. We don't know if we're still going to have three permanent opponents, or we're just going to keep one. So, I mean, this game right here has got a lot of significance if we only go to one, because we're probably going to lose this rivalry moving forward, except, every other year. But it's just going to kind of lose its luster. But I fully expect that if they do go to three, we will keep this one. Of course, Auburn and LSU, I would imagine. But, yeah, it's a big game. Tennessee fans, they kind of got big head after winning the first game in like 16 years, 15 years, and they think they're really good now and they're gonna beat us again. But I feel like if we play our game like we know we can win this game easily.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%. And before we dive into our keys to victory, Jake, there's one thing that's really stuck out to me when I got to looking at this Tennessee team here in 2023. They have played only one game out of the state of Tennessee this year so far.
Yeah,
That was at Florida, and we all know what happened there.
yeah,
Florida beat them pretty handily, if we're being honest. They slowed down that rushing attack for Tennessee and was able to wear them out over 4 quarters. So just one game so far this season, and we're over the halfway point now, where they have been outside of the state of Tennessee. They opened up with Virginia and Nashville, so basically a home game. And then every other week, besides playing in Gainesville, they've been in the confines of Neyland Stadium. So this is really, they don't really have a lot of experience, this version of the Tennessee Vols on the road in a hostile environment. So that's just kind of an interesting side note.
it is interesting. I didn't realize that. You got to think about it. They also get Georgia at home this year, so
Yeah.
I mean this is their biggest test away from home. So and it's gonna be a challenge. I feel like for them because they're a different team than they were last year. Joe Milton's a totally different quarterback than Hendon Hooker, and the defense that they played against last year is a totally different defense this year.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's for sure. And that'll be part of the conversation and keys to victory. And before we get into that, there was another point I wanted to make about their schedule, Jake. And, they haven't really looked dominant against some of these other teams either, Jake. I mean, they've been a lot like Alabama as far as kind of left a lot to be desired. They have the capability of being a really good team. They just haven't showed it on a consistent basis. So really interesting matchup happening in Tuscaloosa this weekend. So looking forward to kind of diving into all the details of that and what we're looking forward to the most in that matchup. But Jake, as I guess it's a good time to jump into keys of victory if nobody else has. And by the way, Trina, is that how you say that? 2,500 miles away in northern Canada. That is awesome. Thank you for tuning in, Trina. By the way, my 9 to 5 that I work at, we actually just got bought out by a Canadian company. So I don't know if they're called Linamar, but it's an automotive manufacturer. But that's kind of interesting. But hey, y'all, thanks for the show. Roll Tide. Thank you for joining
Man,
us as well.
thank
Good
you,
to
man.
have you here.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're in the chat right now, give us a roll tide. Let us know where you're watching us from. And as we dive into all these topics that you can see there on our lineup for tonight, give us your thoughts on all those as well. Jake, let's just jump into keys to victory, buddy. When Alabama has the football, what do they need to do to be successful against Tennessee?
I sound like a broken record now, but I feel it's a got to protect Jalen Milroe, especially on passing situations. I mean, we have talked till we're blue in the face about how we feel like Caden Proctor is going to be that guy, but we can't say he's a freshman, even though he is, but he's had plenty of experience now. If he can't get it done, you got to find somebody else. And then we put in Elijah Pritchett, and he kind of had an okay day when he was in, last week. So we've got to figure out a lot of tackle position and fast if we're going to have any kind of success moving forward, even past this game.
Yeah, and Tennessee's got the third best, third most sacks in the country. So it's going to be a tough test for those guys up front. But the one thing I've noticed about this has kind of been something that's kind of carried throughout the Nick Saban tenure. If you just go, we'll just keep it in recent memory. Against Georgia in the 2021 SEC championship game, I mean, that was right after Alabama, I think, gave up, was it like 7 sacks to Auburn?
Yeah,
a bad Auburn team.
Yeah.
And then they go in and play Georgia, and Georgia barely touched Bryce Young. I mean, barely ever touched him.
Yep.
So and then you look at a couple weeks ago against A&M, as far as the pass protection goes, they were really good. I know there was some sacks, but most of them were on Milroe.
Yeah.
And so it just seems like they kind of rise to the occasion. And I don't want to say they play to the level of their competition. I just feel like if they feel like they're being doubted against an opponent that has some really good playmakers that they're going to be going against, it seems like they kind of rise to the occasion and play, kind of what we're expecting them to play like. So if that can transition to Saturday, Jake, and they can kind of negate the pass rush that Tennessee has, that will obviously go a long way in determining the success of the Alabama offense.
Yeah, I agree, Stacey. And I feel like we showed some signs running the ball last week. I feel like our running game's starting to come along. It's just been slowly coming along, but I feel like it's getting there. And I really feel like if we start establishing the run early, it's going to open up some of those play action deep shots that Miller loves to throw. So and I'm not sure Tennessee's secondary is that great. So I feel like the number one thing that we got to keep Milroe off the ground if we're going to have any success, especially this defensive front that they have.
Yeah, and it's important that Milroe sees the blitz is coming pre-snap. He knows where he needs to go, where his hot route is at. Cannot hold on to the football too long. So it's not just the offensive line. It's the defensive or the Jalen Milroe, being able to see what the defense is doing and get rid of the football as quickly as he can. But so it's all those things, all the above. If you're looking at it from that perspective, but when I look at keys to victory for the offense, Jake, it's just I want to see just consistency.
Right.
I don't know what the problem is, Jake. It's just the Arkansas game is a perfect example.
Right.
21 first half points. They did struggle a little bit in the running game early on, but the passing game was there. And then the running game started clicking in the third quarter. Then they kind of abandoned it for some reason. And it's just like they can't get out of their own way, Jake. And that's not just on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, you go back, Arkansas got back in that game because of penalties on the defensive side of the ball. So it's just Alabama just got to stay out of their own way. They are their own worst enemy right now, Jake. And I just want to see them play a complete game where there's no mental mistakes, no – you're going to turn the ball over every once in a while. It's just the nature of the game. But play clean. Don't have pre-snap penalties. Don't, when you're going to kneel on the ball to end the game and you get a false start, and they get a false start because Jesse McClellan's trying to calm Jermaine Burton down because he can't keep his mouth shut.
I know it. Yeah.
Let your play do the talking.
Right.
Look, I don't mind a little bit of chirping, but
Mhm.
when you're chirping, when you're taking a knee and it causes you to have a false start,
Yeah.
that's a loser play. That's not a winner's play.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I just want to see this offense and really the entire team play clean, play smart, don't hurt themselves, don't shoot themselves in the foot, and just play to that Alabama standard of doing all the things right, all the little things right.
Yeah, I agree, Stacey, 100%. I saw an interesting stat over the weekend. I think come out Sunday or Monday. But you know, ever since Milroe has pretty much got benched in that third game against South Florida, he's finally coming to his own a little bit. He only has 4 interceptions on the year. Caleb Williams, who's also a Heisman candidate or was, also has 4 on the year. So I feel like Milroe is getting better each and every game. I'm not saying he's at Caleb Williams level yet, but I feel like he's getting better and he's starting to make better decisions. When he's trying to find somebody to get open. And
Yeah,
so
but
yeah.
he's got to get rid of the ball, Jake.
He does.
The taking the sacks or even when he runs around and then decides to run out of bounds, that counts as a sack and you lose yards.
Right.
And you cannot get behind the chains. And
You
so those are stuff. I mean, he's in starting 6-7 games by now. He's got to get out of that. It's time to get out of that. I'm guaranteeing the coaches are not saying, "Hey, run out of bounds after you run backwards 5 yards."
Right. Yeah.
He's got to get rid of the football, Jake, and quit putting the offense in bad situations. And there's just a lot of problems. Not problems. There's a lot of small things that this offense does that is preventing them from reaching their true potential.
Mm-hmm.
If they would cut down on the self-inflicted negative plays,
Right.
just think what this offense could do.
Mm-hmm.
If Jalen could cut down on the taking the needless sacks and just throw the ball away, and it be 2nd and 10 instead of 2nd and 16, or instead of being 3rd and 4, it's 3rd and 11 because you take a needless sack. Eliminate those plays. Eliminate the pre-snap penalties. Get a hat on a hat in when teams blitz. You got to be able to communicate and get those calls right. Yeah. That's on Milroe. That's on Steph McLaughlin. That's on all those guys up front. So it's just about taking care of the things that you can control. I mean, it's hard enough to beat teams straight up. But you make it even more difficult when you put yourself in bad situations. So just clean up those plays, those self-inflicted wounds, and this offense will be in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I agree, and I love Rick's comment here. Alabama is a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde football team this season. They play great one week and terrible, and they look terrible the next. I don't
even think it's a week-to-week thing. I think it's a 6-minute stretch to 6-minute stretch. Yeah, it's insane. I mean, they should have routed Arkansas guys, and they didn't. And look, Alabama's still got a good football team. They're more than capable of running the table, and I'm including the SEC championship, the playoff, and all of it. They're good enough to do all that because they got a great defense, and they have a dynamic player at quarterback. Does he do some things that make you want to throw something at the television? Yes, but he's a dynamic player with a big arm. And also, Jake, I don't know how often we have to say it, but when and this is one reason why I can't be overly critical of Milroe. He's basically playing with one arm tied behind his back, Jake.
Right.
It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out. It doesn't take Bill Belichick to know what Jalen Milroe does best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, we don't do it.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm not even saying the read option because for all we know, maybe he's not good at reading the read option,
right?
Or the RPO style stuff. Maybe that's not really his niche, but you can still run QB power. You can still run QB counter stuff that Arkansas does with KJ Jefferson to kind of get an extra blocker out in front of him because he's 6'2", 220, big, strong, fast. I mean, 2 or 3 of those a game, Jake, and it changes the way the opponent has to play you defensively.
I agree. And that's the second thing I was going to bring up was about, the game plan. It seems like, the game plan, like a couple weeks ago, we had a game plan that Jermaine Burton was going to go to him and we went target him 12 times. last week we targeted him 3 times.
Yeah.
There's no consistency and no rhythm in the game plan. It seems like so far offensively.
Yeah, and I don't want to I don't want to and I don't want to blame Tommy Reese either because
Right.
Jake Nick Saban has the final call.
You're right.
I mean
100%.
that if Nick Saban wanted Milroe to be running, he'd be running by now.
Yeah.
So for what I don't know what the reason is. I don't know if they don't want to take a risk of him getting hurt. But then why play him?
Right.
I mean, you are taking away his greatest asset when you don't allow him to run the football on design runs.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Tyler Watts told us the same thing tonight. I'm assuming as far as Milroe playing with the one arm tied behind his back. I just can't. And I voiced my concerns on Milroe, but I can't be overly critical when we're not. When I say when Alabama's not doing their best to put on display what he does best.
Right.
So I'm not going to be overly critical of the guy. I mean, he's basically playing like it's A-Day, which is not, where he can't be hit.
Yeah.
But he still takes sacks. But
some of them needless and some of them are,
Yeah, I mean, so I would say, I don't know what they've been sacked. He's been sacked about 30 times. I would honestly say it's probably half and half. Half on the offensive line, half on him. I think that's honestly probably fair.
Yes, he said that concerning Milroe. Yep.
Well, hey, I don't want y'all to do it right now, but I would let everybody know head over to Bama Standard so y'all can check out what Tyler Watts had to say about that.
Absolutely.
I'm sure that's interesting. But Jake, defensively for Alabama in this matchup against Tennessee, to me, it's obvious what they need to do. If you look at this Tennessee team this season, it's not like it was a year ago with Hendon Hooker and Jalen Hyatt and all those guys out wide. It's a different type of volunteer offense. And I think you got to give Josh Heupel some credit for this, Jake. He has a totally different – and look, running the football was important last year, but that's what they do this year, Jake.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's their offense. Joe Milton has kind of struggled to be consistently accurate with the football this year, just like most people who had watched him before had seen. He'd always struggled with being consistent in his accuracy, but their rushing attack, Tennessee is one of the best rushing football teams that I've seen this year, Jake. I think they're 6th in the country in rushing yards per game, a little over 200 yards per game. So they got 3 backs that are all capable. So to me, the key for Alabama's defense is I think you just need to hold Tennessee to a minimum of 50 yards under their season average and total rushing yards. I think if Alabama can do that, you set yourself up for a lot of success in the game.
Yeah, I agree. If you get them in a couple of like 3rd and long situations, I don't think they're the type of team that can recover from that and get that 7-8 yard gain to move the chain. So I feel like the defensive line is going to play a big part. Do not let Jabari Small get into the second level. And if you hit him at the line of scrimmage, make sure you bring him down. Top deals. Yeah,
it's this whole game is going to be predicated on what Tennessee can do on the early downs because, like you mentioned, Jake, if you can get Joe Milton into 3rd and 6 or longer, then I think for the most part that's going to be a recipe for success for Alabama because you got guys. I'm sure Malachi Moore is going to be back this week. You got Caleb Downs, Arnold, Kool-Aid, you got all those talented players in the back end. And then you think about what Dallas Turner and Chris Braswell and those guys can do as far as putting pressure on Milton. I think you could, if you can force them into some long 3rd down situations, you can maybe get a couple turnovers that really turn the game in Alabama's favor.
Yeah, I agree. And Deontay Lawson has just been a monster this year, and he's really stepped up as a leader. I think Trez Marshall talked about that today, about how his leadership skills has been great for the team. So Lawson, man, he's such a great athlete, and I'm glad he's finally healthy enough to get back on the field because I feel like we need him, this week.
Yeah, I want to get to the chat real quick. Joe Will says when the Bama spread game when the Bama spread, I think it came out, I was confused. but I think it's about right. Bama boys will be ready for revenge Saturday. I was in the exact same boat, Joe. When I saw it was like 9.5, 10, I'm like, man, that seems a little high. But then I got to thinking, that's really about right. I mean, you got to think home field's going to give you 3 to 6 points.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think, if Tennessee plays their A game and Alabama plays their A game, Alabama's about a 4 to 5 point, maybe 6 point better team than Tennessee. So yeah, I think 10 points is about right. We'll save our score predictions for the last segment, but I'm with you, Joe. It was surprising at first, but the more I thought about it, it's really about right on.
Yeah, I agree. Bama Sanders said, keep in mind that Tennessee's success against the run versus A&M came without Walter Nolan and Adrian Cooper playing for the Aggies.
Arguably their two best front seven players.
Yeah, we don't have anybody out, I don't think, on the front seven. Mm-hmm. We have everybody healthy. Silva says, what's up, guys? Revenge week. Yes, revenge for sure.
To paraphrase a Journey song, any way that win it, that's the way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, we're talking about revenge. That's being mentioned a lot in the chat. And, revenge is a good thing. And it's like in moderation.
Right.
Because if you let revenge be what dictates you, it can quickly turn from your passion to your poison. You know what I mean? So like it's revenge is not always a great thing, but I do think what happened last year is in the back of the minds of the players, and I think they'll use that as a little bit of extra motivation, not the main motivation, but just a little bit extra.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Caitlin said, I feel like we can have it. We can't have it all. We get a great offense, a horrible defense. Now we got to struggle on offense or killing on defense.
Yeah, it's like somebody mentioned earlier. It's a Jekyll and Hyde type thing, and the offense has shown the capabilities of being really good. It's just about being consistent, and defensively, we've talked about it every show. They're good enough to win a championship. That Alabama's defense is a national championship worthy defense, and my gosh, I hate to even bring up this guy's name, but Big Game Boomer on Twitter. I don't know if you saw that. His top 50 defenses, Alabama was like 16th or something.
Yeah. I'm like, what?
People like that. Look, I want people to be successful in life. But when people are just blatantly doing stuff that they know is not true, there ain't no way there's 15 better defenses than Alabama's.
No, not a chance.
So I just for some reason that popped in my mind because I saw that earlier today, and I'm like, good grief. Like I used to follow the guy, but he's gotten worse. Like he used to be like halfway serious about it, and I think he took the, hey, I'm gonna, I don't know. He just it gets on my nerves.
Yeah. Joke is here. She said, I'm here. George Scott's 31 to 13. That would be great. I would almost call that a blowout.
I would love that.
Yeah. He also says that Alabama is number 1 in the nation in PFF grade for defenses.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying Alabama's got the best defense in the country, but I think you can make the argument.
Yeah.
They definitely ain't 16th best.
No.
Alabama's second team defense is probably 16th best.
Right. The syllabus says he's got 34-17 and our best performance so far this year. I would love that. Have we hit a 30 burger yet this year?
Yeah. I think
we got 26 against A&M. We got 24 against.
I think just once.
Just once, yeah.
Middle Tennessee.
Middle Tennessee. That's the first game of the year.
I don't remember. That would be crazy.
Yeah. Thinking about going from scoring 40-50 a game now to barely getting 30. And I'd say, but thankfully,
I don't know if you noticed this, Jake. Across the board, scoring is down in college football.
It is. You're right.
Across the board. I think over the past 2 seasons, scoring has dropped like almost 5 points a game overall in college football.
Unless you're in the Pac-12 where they play no defense and they score 36 to 40 points a game.
Oh, we did score 40 on Mississippi State. That's right. I knew there had to be
That's
another
right.
one.
Yeah, we did.
That Mississippi State game, even though it was just a couple weeks ago, that seems like forever ago.
It does, don't it? It is crazy.
All right, we kind of got off the rails there. Jake,
Yeah.
players to watch in this game, and we want to hear from you guys in the chat as well. Give us some players to watch Saturday, both offensively and defensively. Jake, let's start on the offensive side of the football. Who are you watching this week against Tennessee?
I'm going to go back to another guy. I picked him earlier in the year. He hasn't been involved much. I think he had a pass reception last week, but Amari Knoblauch, I feel like he needs to get going a little bit in the passing game. I mean, like they have mentioned, he is a defensive nightmare mismatch. So I feel like we got to get him going in that passing attack and start seeing success through him, because I really feel like he's a talented player.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with an easy answer. I'm just watching whoever's playing left tackle.
Yeah,
I'm watching whoever's playing left tackle, whether it's Caden Proctor or Elijah Pritchett. That's what I'm going to be watching for, because I trust that if Milroe is given time, he's going to make a play. And I like what the Bama Center's saying here. Justice Haynes, that's the guy. That's actually who I went with last week, because I thought that last week was going to be when we first started seeing him get some reps with the first team and meaningful snaps, and he did. He played a couple series, had a couple nice runs. So I'm with you there. I think it's time for him to show up and show out as well. But like I was going with that though, Jake. If Milroe and the skill position players have opportunities to make plays, I think they're going to make plays this weekend. I really do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree, Stacey. I'm excited about this matchup, and I feel like, that the team, like we mentioned, is better than Tennessee, and we just got to go out there and play all 4 quarters to prove it.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, defensively, Jake, who you got your eye on, buddy?
I'm going to go with Malachi Moore. He didn't get to play last week because of injury. I feel like, having the guy who calls the plays in the backfield. We played a really good secondary last week. It's just, you could see missing him, how it kind of affected the team late, especially third and fourth quarter. He really attacks the run real hard, and he's always at the line of scrimmage. It seems like whenever he's pressuring the quarterback too. So I feel like getting him back is going to be a difference maker this week on the defense side.
Yeah, and he plays a big part in stopping the run as well at his star position. So it'll be really important that he plays well. I'm excited to have Malachi back. I think even though he's not the best player on Alabama's defense, he's the most valuable player for Alabama because of just his versatility, his experience. He's just got a knack for being around the football. So excited to have Malachi Moore back. And Bama Standard took mine. I was going with Tim Keenan. We need our big guys up front on the defensive line to play well. They need to play their best game of the season to stop the run of Tennessee. Jake, if they stop the run of Tennessee and make it – look, you go back to that Florida game. Florida held Tennessee to 30 rush attempts for 100 yards.
Right.
If Alabama can duplicate that, they will win this game by at least 14 points. So it's important that Tim Keenan, Justin Aboybe, Jaheim Otis, Dallas Turner, Chris Braswell – that they all play well and stuff the run, set the edge. If you're Braswell or Turner, and if you're on the interior, make plays in the backfield, get those tackled for loss, and make Joe Milton beat you in the passing game.
Yeah, I agree 100%, Stacey. And I love, I go back and watch, much like you do, the after the game's over, we go back and watch it. It seems like Tim Keenan is finding ways, like it's almost like every play he's in the backfield. And there's a couple of times where he's been double teamed and still has made his way in the backfield. So, we talked about beginning of the season how we feel like the defensive guys need to if they take up 2 blockers, somebody's going to be free to rush the quarterback. And he's taking up 2 guys almost every play, and he's still finding ways to get back to the backfield. He's had a resurgence year, and I'm happy to see it because he's one of the most consistent guys on the defensive front, along with Tim Smith, his resurgence as well.
Yeah. The play of a boy B. Keenan,
Mm-hmm.
Tim Smith, and Jaheim Otis have been huge for Alabama's defense this season. The syllabus says, is Malachi back in the lineup? Yeah, he actually dressed and participated in all the pregame warm-up last week and probably could have played if they absolutely needed him to.
Yep. Okay. Bama Standard said Malachi is back. Tyler Watts confirmed it on our show, so that's awesome.
Good deal. Good to have Malachi back. Been one of our favorite players since he committed to Alabama several years ago. So, that's back when we kind of first started our show, I guess.
Yeah, it is crazy. We started out just talking on through our phones. Now we're on here. It's crazy.
Yeah, times have changed for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Jake. Bold prediction time. This is like my favorite thing to do because, first of all, they hardly ever happen. But
I know.
It's a bold prediction for a reason. Give me your bold prediction for the game, Jake.
I think Alabama slows down Tennessee's rushing attack, and they force Milton to try to beat us over the top. And we have, I want to say, we have two or three interceptions this week, and one of them is going to be a pick six. So I'm going to take. That's my bold prediction for the week.
So multiple interceptions and one pick six. Ooh. I think if there's multiple interceptions and a pick six, that game's probably pretty ugly.
Yeah.
Right. In Alabama's favor.
Right. Yep.
All right. Since you went with a bold prediction on the defensive side of the ball, I guess I'll go with something on the offensive side of the ball. Alabama will have a 100-yard rusher and a 100-yard receiver.
Nice.
And I think that Justice Haynes will be the 100-yard rusher.
I hope so.
I think he's going to bust one.
Yeah. I can see it. He's just itching to get on the field, man.
I'm telling you, and he's like one of those guys that if there's a crease, it's over with. Him or Jam Miller, either one. Those two guys. Not that McClellan's not capable or Roydell's not capable, but for some reason Jam and Justice seems like they have a different gear. And it may be because they haven't had ACL surgery and played 4 years of college football already.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
My bold prediction is the Alabama fans win the ball game. They storm the field, tear down the goalpost, and throw it in the river. Well, I think mine and Jake are both more than likely to happen simultaneously than what yours is, Rick and Bonnie.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You don't see Alabama storming the field. That's just one thing that I don't think they've ever done. They might.
I'd be so embarrassed if they did that.
I know. Yeah. I mean, storming the field. Did you watch them won their game the other night, and they were. I think they was ahead in the polls and they still rushed the field. How did they beat Oregon?
I've never understood rushing the field to tear down your goalpost.
And then the next
your own goalpost.
Right. And they threw in the river, and the next day they was asking, people for donations to get a goalpost because they got to have it for next, the next game. I mean,
that's so dumb.
That
is so dumb. I mean, it's like rolling your own yard.
Yeah. Who wants to clean up that mess, Bo Scarborough predicted Justice to have a breakout performance like he did in 2016.
God, that 2016 performance was so sweet.
That was. I hope so.
Sweet.
Man.
That'd be great. All right, everybody let us know your bold predictions for the matchup. We're fixing to hop into our score predictions real quick. Jake, this game, and I think I say it every week, it's so hard. Score predictions are so hard.
They are.
Because you never know the ebbs and flow or how the games are going to be. You never know how the officials are going to call the game. Are they tight? Do they let them play? You never know. Somebody might get hurt in the pregame. So there's so many variables that could happen. But right now, what is your score prediction for Saturday's matchup?
I'm going to say 31-17 Alabama. I feel like. They get to 31, and the defense makes a late stop to keep Tennessee at 17. They may be driving the field, but they may get one of their two interceptions. I feel like on right there. So I'm going to take 31-17 Alabama. Roll Tide, and we smoke them cigars, and it's just going to be a fog in that stadium after the game.
I love it. If I was a betting man, which I'm not, and I don't recommend anybody to take my advice on betting,
But go to Bet US if you do.
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
do, go to Bet US. Actually, click the link in the description below if you want to bet on this game or any game. Follow that link, and if you follow that link and sign up and make your first deposit, you will receive a 125% bonus from Bet US. So make sure you do that. But if I was a betting man, I would hammer the under on this game. It's currently at 49.
Oh, yeah.
I just can't see a scenario where this game gets to 50 points combined.
Potentially,
I don't see that. I think it's a little bit slower, a lower scoring game. I think Alabama wins this from 28-17, Jake. And I think that Alabama kind of flexes their muscles a little bit. I think they've heard everybody talk about how, well, they're this far in the season and they hadn't fixed this. They're this far in the season and they hadn't fixed that. I think they flex their muscles. Jake, this team is capable, Jay. They're good. They have all the potential in the world. So I think they flex their muscles against Tennessee, get that revenge win, and like you said, light them if you got them.
Yep, you're right. Who we got after this game?
Off week, and then
we got off week, then LSU. So, we get our revenge here. We take a week off, get prepared for probably our next biggest challenge. Stopping, Jaden Daniels. There's nobody's done it yet.
That dude's unreal.
He is. But at least we got 2 weeks to study and look at.
Hey, I'll be honest with you. This is kind of a side note. I'm not sure he's not the best quarterback in the country right now. Him and the guy from Washington, Penix.
Yeah, you're right.
Jaden Daniels is a dude. They got 2 receivers, Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas, that are hard to cover.
They are. So, we'll have another,
Yeah, for sure. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves.
Right. But Cubans have a little something extra elbow call. That's good. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I got some right now. I'm ready. I'm ready to light it up. So hopefully Alabama can take care of business at home on Saturday, get that revenge win, and prove to 7-1 and 5-0 in SEC play, Jake.
Yep. And still control our own destiny.
Controlling their own destiny. It's everything is ahead of them, ahead of Alabama. And unfortunately, Brock Bowers is hurt right now. Don't know how long he's going to be out. So you never know what that's going to do to Georgia, because he's their dude. So we'll kind of see how Georgia handles that. But a lot to look forward to. A lot of good matchups coming up. Alabama, Tennessee, 2:30 on CBS this Saturday. You heard it here. Alabama's going to win this game. Get your cigars ready. It's happening. And Alabama takes back control of the 3rd Saturday in October. But that's going to do it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Been a lot of fun to get our preview show out there. Thanks for all those who watched us live and join us in the conversation as well. And if you're watching the replay of this on YouTube, make sure you do like and subscribe to the channel and jump in the comments and let us know your thoughts on the matchup between Alabama and Tennessee on Saturday. But that's going to do it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back on Saturday for our recap. Until next time, Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.